I'm Tara Wilson, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Rural Hollywood, a show that takes an in-depth look at the movie industry in the Southeast and beyond. Now, on today's episode, Jesica Page will be speaking with Ruckus and Lane Skye of Joy Beam Studios about their short film, Prayers from Pelham. But first, Tenille Wilson will be sitting down with Martin Kelly and Jamie Wingler to discuss their feature film, Behind the Nine.
Hello, I'm Tenille Wilson, and we're here with Martin Kelly and Jamie Wingler, the producers of feature film Behind the Nine. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, and I was reading your bios, and I noticed that you guys come from very diverse backgrounds, and you were able to come together and make a really good film. So, Jamie, you were an attorney. You are an attorney, and also you also have background as a pilot. How has that experience helped you with writing?
Well, life experiences are obviously very important to a writer, and my first screenplay that I wrote was a Navy pilot script because I had just come out of the Navy when I started working on that. It's enormously helpful with technical jargon and all of the terminology that goes along with screenwriting, and that makes a script fuller when you're writing it. Right. And my second script is a script that revolves around racetracks, thoroughbred racing. I grew up when I was 13 years old. I started working at Churchill Downs, so I drew on 5 or 6 years of experience doing that to write that script. And then as an attorney, I do criminal defense work, so I'm always in court and talking to police officers, so all that has added to scripts. I've got a sniper script that came in very handy on, and so all the life experiences put together
that sounds good.
make for a pretty full script.
It sounds like that background would definitely should help, and I'm interested in watching the movie. So, Jamie, would you say that you being a music journalist has helped you with your writing as well? Or?
Well, it helped me get my feet wet. I started as a songwriter, and then I moved into music journalism, did freelance columns for some hip-hop magazines, and went from there to always had an interest in film. And I kind of graduated from the journalism part into screenwriting. And so, like Jamie said, it's all about early on, especially when you're a new writer, your life experience is very valuable for you to draw on. And it helps you create a fuller picture on a script. I mean, later I think you can take on challenges, that are far different from your own life experience. But as a new writer, it's really valuable to draw on your own personal experience. So my experience within the music industry, that helped me write my first short that we ever produced. And Jamie actually was also producer on that short. And my first short script that was at film festival was based on music industry experience.
Cool. So can you tell us what is it's the Atlanta Screenwriters Group?
Yes.
What is that?
Well, the Atlanta Screenwriters Group is a informal group of screenwriters get together, and we have script readings every 2 weeks, feature film script. We have a table read, and then we give feedback to the writer afterwards. We've been doing it for 8.5 years now, and I'm one of the first 5 members of the group, and I'm also the co-president, along with Michael Friedman. And it's been going strong. There's that many writers in the Atlanta area, and to keep us going for 8 years, every 2 weeks.
Cool. Wow. Well, how can people get in contact with you about that? Or
well, the best way to reach us, and the way everyone seems to reach us, is to go to atlscript.org, and you'll see all the particulars, all the background on the group and what we do, and allows you to get on the email list and then find out how to come to the meeting if you like.
Okay, well, we'll check that out. And so I'm sure you have other members of your team. So who are the other members, and how'd you all come together?
Well, I'll start, and then Jamie can fill in. Jamie came up with the idea. As part of the Screenwriters Group, Jamie was a member as well. We were looking for projects that we could do on an independent level, low budget, and we wanted to work together. So Jamie came up with the original idea of bringing 3 writers together to create this storyline of this particular film. And then once we got the ball rolling, our other co-writers, Robert Lee, we got Bob Clark on board, and He's a cinematographer who specializes in high definition, and he has a Cine Alta package, and he was very interested in doing a project, and so he came aboard to help us, get the production done, and then he helped us come in contact with Lab 601, who partnered with us and became our co-producers, and we posted the film completely at Lab 601.
Yeah, and through the screenwriters group, we had done a couple of other projects. I came up with a concept called Getting, where 6 or 8 of the people from the screenwriters group wrote individual short scripts that were all centered around the same characters, and they each got to direct that, and so we shot that over a few week period and put that together. So that put us in contact with a lot of filmmakers and actors. Then after that project, we did Buoyant. Martin and I did Buoyant together, which gave us Dan Caudill, one of the actors from the movie. Moretta Moss was in that. And so Moretta and Dawn Smith had done a short that I directed called Long Night as well. So we did a lot of preparation to get to the feature film level. And one of the things that we did, I think, that was pretty important to putting the whole team together was when Bob Clark contacted us, we'd shot a trailer before we shot the movie on mini DV, and we used that trailer to help secure Bob Clark. It gave him a good concept of what we were planning to do and what we thought we could do. And also when we went to Lab 601, who was our production partner and did the post-production for us in high definition, that trailer really helped us move us to that next level, because it was a project we were going to shoot on mini DV. We ended up shooting with a great high definition camera and high definition post-production, so we got a high definition project out of what started out as a really small project. So we really got a big boost when Bob came on board.
Definitely.
Well, I'm excited to hear about Behind the Nine. Tell us about it. Tell us about your feature film.
Well, the story revolves around an underground pool tournament worth $500,000 to the winner. The person who hosts it, he keeps his own $500,000 take. It's set on the very last night of the tournament, and there's 8 finalists and their entourages. So the proprietor and the owner of the house who hosts the tournament is got in the back of his mind that someone's going to try and steal the money. And so throughout the movie, it's all about these wild characters who invade his home, and he's trying to figure out who potentially is going to steal his money. And by the end, hopefully the person who actually is stealing his money is a surprise. So, but it's hopefully the person, if not you least expect, maybe the second least you expect.
Wow, that sounds exciting. I want to see it, definitely. So we can take a look at the trailer. All right.
3 things I love: statistics, baseball, and pool. My dad wanted me to be an accountant, but as I said earlier, that's for suckers. So to make ends meet, I put on a pool tournament. 200 players at $5,000 a head. The winner takes home $500,000. I know, that leaves only $500,000 for myself, but I make do. That's my fiance, Beth. One of the 3 people that helped me out for the week. And yes, everyone always asks, why in the hell do you let your girl dress like that? Well, most players come for the money, some come for the competition, but I know a few come just for the experience. And my girl or not, I have eyes too. And did I say 3 things? I meant 4 things.
Okay, that was wonderful. So you guys also secured a distribution deal for the movie, for the film. So can you tell us a little bit about that and how that process worked for you?
Well, basically, it took a while in post-production, but then once we posted it, we started to solicit distributors. And at first, we didn't quite know how to do that, but we ended up going to a couple of film festivals, and we met some distributors at the film festivals. And then after meeting those distributors, and apparently we had been tracked by other distributors who were interested and sent us inquiries about the film once we put our website up and they could see the trailer online. And we had word out through different sources like Mandy.com is a place where people can post news about their films in post-production and everything else. We got together with about 8 distributors who seemed interested and wanted the film, at least to review it. We sent screeners to them, and a couple of them got back to us, and the one that had the most interest was Echelon Entertainment. And so we signed with Echelon early 2005 is when we signed our deal. And then they were able to secure video on demand outlets such as Cinefilm, Green Cine, Cinema Now, Kimbo.com, as well as last November 2005, they released it on Netflix.
Wow.
So it's available to almost everybody who has Netflix, which is very popular, like 4 million people subscribe. So we've been trying to get the word out for everyone to get on Netflix and rent Behind the Nine.
And what's your website again?
It's behindthe9.com, all spelled together.
Okay. Well, of course, I've already seen the website, and I was looking at the cover. It's very attractive. And not only that, reading the synopsis, that's what really gets you into it. It's really
thank
good.
you.
So I think you should be very proud of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So is there anything else that you all have going on, or any other projects that are coming up?
Well, Martin and I are writing scripts, and Martin's got some projects that are in post-production. We have another feature script that we're shopping out in Hollywood. An agent has it right now, reading it. It's a script called Jesus of Nazareth High. And I'm writing all the time. I've finished 2 first drafts of features this year already, in addition to Jesus of Nazareth High.
Jamie and I collaborated several times since Behind the Nine, and we're still going to collaborate more in the future as far as co-writing together. And of course, we write separately as well. But I do have a short film that's in post-production now. Lee Bolya, award-winning director from Georgia State, he's also a professor there, directed it, and I wrote it. And it's should be done fairly soon, and hopefully we'll get on the festival circuit with that. That stars Chris Burns. Also, I have to mention a film that I acted in. A lot of people who worked with us on Behind the Nine, I've continued to work with them as well in other capacities, and we have a group called Cougars Film Group, and their feature film called Return of the Jackalope will be playing at the Rome Film Festival on September 9th. So hopefully a lot of people will get out and see that. It's a comedy, and I've got a small acting role in that one. Okay. And so other than that, I am the editor-in-chief of an online film magazine called cinemaatl.com. Okay. And so we cover a lot of filmmakers in town and a lot of events that happen in town.
And thanks again to Jamie Wingler and Martin Kelly for joining us. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're joined now by an actor from the movie, the feature film, Behind the Nine. Can you introduce yourself, please, sir?
I'm Stephan Caudill. You didn't want to say my last name, right?
No, I can pronounce Caudill. I can pronounce your name.
Very good.
Okay, and tell us a little about yourself, and well, tell us about the character first that you play in Behind the Nine.
The character is, I guess you know some about the film already, right?
Yes, yes.
It's a pool tournament. This guy is, he just loves pool. He's already pretty well off. He just goes for the sport of it. Okay. And the one little, I guess, hitch is that this character, his name is Dana, and he is a gay pool shark.
Okay.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. So I guess the fun part of my role in the film is that I'm playing against a real Brooklyn tough guy. And so I try to sort of, mess with his masculinity and
okay.
make him mess up.
Okay.
So that I can take the game and win.
So you have to have a pretty strong background in acting already. So do you have anything you want to tell us about that you've already done, or tell us about your background?
I actually I didn't get started till very late. I was 28, 29 years old.
Okay.
Had always wanted to, but just it terrified me. So I got drug in 2 weeks before a show opened that I was doing sets for.
Okay.
Someone dropped out, and ended up doing Fiddler on the Roof, and it wasn't nearly as terrifying as I thought it was going to be. So from there I started doing more shows, and ended up getting an agent and doing commercials, and then started working on feature films. And if I'm not mistaken, Behind the Nine, I believe, was my first real life feature film.
Wow.
Yeah. But since then, I was in recently End of the Spear, which was in theaters this past January, which is the story of the 5 missionaries that go to Ecuador and are killed by the Waodani tribe.
Okay.
So End of the Spear, it's in Blockbuster and other places now. And just wrapped up another local indie zombie movie called Zombie Invasion. So there's a real active independent film community here in Atlanta, and you would have to work really hard to not be able to find something to do, a short or a feature in this area. And as you probably realize, there are writers. There are just tons of scripts out there. It's just finding the resources and the time and the talent, getting them together to actually make all these.
Right.
But it's a great area for the art.
Okay. Okay, well, we definitely appreciate you coming by. Thank you so much, Stephen Caudill.
Hi, welcome back. We're here with Ruckus and Lane Skye of Joy Bean Studios, who wrote, produced, and directed a short film called Prayers from Pelham. Welcome.
Hey,
thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, first, I have a question for Ruckus. I want you to share with our audience your background in music.
Well, I got my guitar when I was 15, and I've always written music and been in bands. And then later when we started making films, I was like, oh, I can merge these two together. We can make a film, and I can write the music for it. So been doing that about as long as we've been making films.
So you did the music for this film?
Yeah, I wrote and recorded all the music for it.
Okay, great. And how have you been able to get your music into radio and television and film?
It's just like anything else. It's all networking and who you know, and just being out there and doing it for a while. And I have a song on a TV show that's going to be airing this fall called 30 Days Till I'm Famous. And there's a band that's going to be playing one song I wrote. But just to tell you how it worked, I wrote a song with a guy, then he introduced me to someone else. I wrote a song with her, and then she introduced me to a publisher, and that publisher liked this song. And that was like 3 years ago, and then so it's just random. Every time you do it, it's different. So there's no formula, you just keep doing it.
Tell our audience about the film Prayers from Pelham.
Well, the synopsis is a small southern town pays a dying woman to take their prayers to God. So the lead character, Aaron, he moves to Atlanta, and he has to come back to the small town of Pelham because he finds out his aunt's dying. And the town busybody, through a series of strangeness, the word gets out that you can pay Enid, who's his aunt, some money, and she'll take her prayers to God because she's going to die in a couple of days. So the town takes over and rushes in, and that's when all the craziness happens.
Hilarity ensues.
Yeah. So it's him trying to deal with his aunt dying and trying to keep the town from going crazy.
So are there any similarities between the characters in the movie and the actual residents of Pelham?
There are a lot of actual residents of Pelham in the film. There's a prayer montage in the middle of the film, and we just put up posters around town and said, want to be in a movie? And we had about, 20 people show up, and they all made up their own prayers. We just sort of coached them through it, and so that's really them saying what they really want.
So it's 80-90% of all the extras are really people that live in the town. So it's we tried the story is completely fictional, but we tried as much as we could to be accurate to what Pelham is, and like names of locations and places like that. We tried to be authentic with it, and I hope we succeeded.
Yeah, and the writing too, we tried to write characters that resembled people that we knew. I grew up in Gwinnett, and my family's all from the South, so we tried to keep in mind characters that we really knew and pull from them. So
And that was the big thing we really wanted to do is is we're from the South, and we want to make films in the South. You don't always have to be about the South, but from a Southern perspective. And we really wanted to be accurate with, okay, this is what people really talk like and sound like and do in small towns in the South. It's not Gone with the Wind, you know. It's you know, and
Kentucky Fried Chicken or something.
yeah, you can get big Hollywood movies
Right.
can be very cliched when it comes to the South, and so we just wanted to try to be as accurate we could with that within a fictional story.
Yeah.
So hopefully we succeeded.
Did you get a lot of support from the people that live there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were very excited about helping us with the film. The police department came out and blocked some roads for us for free.
For free, yeah.
All
All our locations were free.
All of our locations.
It was just this huge buzz around town, and everyone wanted to help in any way they could. And Spencer's mom still lives there.
Uh-huh.
And
Kathy
so,
Adams.
Kathy, yeah, and we'd say, oh, we just came up with this idea for the grocery store scene. We need a grocery store. And she would just call around, and 10 minutes later, okay, be there at 10 o'clock, you can shoot in the grocery store. You know, and you can't do stuff like that everywhere.
No,
you know.
can't.
But just the town I believe it's 4 square miles, the actual town of Pelham. So it's just everyone knows everyone, and they just let us do whatever we wanted. It was great.
Yeah. You have people bringing you apple pies on Christmas. Was it like that?
It might as well have been.
Yeah, people were very excited.
Okay.
And we went back and had a premiere there of the film when we finished, and we got a lot of good response from them. They were very excited about it.
That was where we said the first time we're going to show it, we're going to have to go back there and show it, first. And everyone cheered when they saw themselves or their friends on screen. So it was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, if we had another scene in another film that needed a small town like that, I wouldn't hesitate to go back there. It was great, really pretty too.
Tell us something interesting about anything that happened on the film, or something interesting about your cast, or anything that you'd like to share with our audience.
Yeah, the story.
Well, the film is about Scott's character, Aaron.
Scott Poitras,
Scott
who
Poitras
is the actor.
He's a local actor, whose aunt is on her deathbed and she's dying. And the second day into the shoot, and her name is Aunt Enid in the film. The second day of the shoot, Scott came on set and he looked really horrible. And I asked him what was wrong, and he said, "Oh, my Aunt Nita died." And I thought he said Aunt Enid. And so I was like, ha ha ha, very funny, you're being melodramatic. And he's like, no, seriously, my Aunt Nita died. So we had to shuffle things around so he could go the next day to her funeral.
Yeah, he drove an hour, I think, I forget where the funeral was, but he drove out of town, I think it was Mckenzie, and went to the funeral and literally drove straight back, got into costume, and we shot the last scene where he sees his aunt for the last time in the film. So it was really sad, but I think it probably added a little something, to that scene. And we owe him so much he could have just left and never come back, and I wouldn't have felt, any ill will towards him, because, I can't believe we're asking him to just drive back from the funeral and do it, but he did.
The scene.
Yeah,
Wow.
but it was so amazing, and we owe him so much for doing that.
Yeah, Scott was extremely dedicated. I couldn't have asked for a more helpful person.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's take a look tell us about the scene that we're going to watch.
Okay, this scene we called The Rescue. And this is the scene where the townspeople have taken over his house, and he's finally decided, okay, enough is enough. Everyone's getting out, and I'm going to take care of my aunt. So this is him attempting to do that.
Okay, all right, let's take a look at the scene from the film.
They're not here to visit. They're here because I just let them in. My Aunt Enid is dying. She's dying, and I have to... Aunt Enid!
Aaron!
Come in that side over there.
Hey, Aaron! I need to go back. I got one more prayer request. Aaron, I got another one for her. You're not going to charge me for this one, are you? I mean, you didn't charge me for the other two. Aaron?
Hey, Aaron, I got 2 prayers. You got 2 for 1 special? Come on, Aaron.
Hey, your toilet's clogged. You're out of paper. Hey, need it.
Everything in life happens to
Time's up.
women.
Get out. What? You have to leave now.
I want my money back.
Why aren't you two at school, huh?
Hey, Enid, are you okay?
Aaron, I'm fine.
I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking letting all those people in here. It just happened so fast.
It's okay, Aaron. I haven't had this much fun in years.
Okay, do you plan to specialize in movies that send a message? What message does this movie send?
That's an interesting question. I don't know that this film has, I don't know that we intended for a specific message. We came up with the concept and the premise of the film, and then we just wanted to stay true to the integrity of that idea and that story, and it just happened to be a positive, family-friendly, type of film. But I don't know that we're always going to do, I don't know if I'm answering your question. I'm not sure what he meant by message.
Well, most of our passion is in telling stories, so we're going to continue to try and tell stories that interest us and excite us, whether those stories are positive or negative or violent or not violent or, any of that. It just depends on what's going to be true for that story.
Yeah, this film is a happy, the South is fun, and we have several.
Everyone is good.
Everyone is good, and we're working on a couple of scripts now that are very much the darker side of the South, what we call Southern Gothic type of stories. But whether or not, I believe there's probably a message in every film, whether or not it's a good one, a positive one or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that answers that question.
That answers my, I guess what I hear from you guys is that you want to make films that are true to the story of whatever it is that you're trying to say.
Right.
Whatever story you're trying to tell, you want to stay true to that story.
Right, and I guess maybe, like with this short, we didn't come to the story with this is the message that we want to bring across to an audience.
Right.
We came with this is the original concept was that Aunt Enid was dying. We thought, wouldn't it be funny if people paid her to take prayers to God, and how can that, be funny, and how can we build a story around it? And if there's a message in it, sort of came from that, and sort of came from the story, not the story came from it. Right. I guess maybe that's the difference.
Yeah, I think we always would want. I would never want to approach a project with, okay, this is my agenda I'm going to push. So what's a story I can make that will get that point across? Because I think that would be very false, and I think you would see right through that. I've seen films like that before, and right away you're like, oh, this is anti-this, or this is whatever, Yeah. And so I like stories where there's a serious question to be asked, and you see points from both sides, and maybe the film leaves you wondering, I don't know which way I really feel about that, Maybe everyone had something negative going on or something bad, and I'm not really sure who the good guy was, but it made me think about it. Right. I don't know that we're ever there trying to answer questions, but I would like to raise them.
Can you tell us more about some other projects that you've been working on?
Well, we write and do everything ourselves. So we've been writing a couple of different projects. We want to do another short in the fall, and we're working on a feature project as well.
Yeah, we're working on both of them. Both of these ideas are, we don't want to reveal too much because they're still in the middle. But both of them, like I said, are sort of exploring the darker side of the South. But like I said, hopefully we can still be authentic and stay true to the South.
Okay.
And so if anyone is interested in learning more, they can go to joybeanstudios.com.
Joybean Studios?
Joybeanstudios.com. And we have copies of the film for sale, Prayers for Pelham, and we're going to have information about any new projects.
Okay, great. Well, I look forward to seeing it, all your new stuff. Okay, thank you guys for coming very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank our guests, Ruckus Skye, Blaine Skye, Martin Kelly, Stephen Caudill, and Jamie Wingler for appearing on our show. And we'd also like to thank you, the viewers, for joining us. So be sure to tune in next time for another episode of Rural Hollywood.